Hi there and welcome to another Pokemon Moon battle. This is a battle I had the other day against a random passerby, and the team I'm using is actually a... what's the right word? A version of the team I used in the recent re-release of Pokemon Silver. Yep, I had Sizzle, Typhlosion, Wigglytuff, Piloswine, and the other two weren't 100% certain. I used Donphan on occasion, but then I figured Piloswine and Donphan are a bit too similar, and I did want to use Kabutops, but it's not very common in the game, and I figured I should chuck another Gen 2 Pokemon on, and I chose Ariados. I think you all know why. But yes, I had HM slaves, but in this generation you don't need them, so here we go. Was a bit of a random battle, I must say. Pokemon Trainer Marco, just a random person who challenged me. So I lead off with Ariados here. I'm going to want to make sure that team is slow. I noticed in the team preview that most of his Pokemon weren't holding items, including Metagross, but stupidly I forgot that and thought, oh, maybe it's a Mega Metagross, and I went for a Toxic Thread. Would have been unable to poison it, of course, but if it did Mega Evolve, I would have lowered its speed. We see Psychic come out from the Metagross, so suggesting my opponent there isn't the most skilled at this game, or aware of the physical/special move split. But I do evade a Meteor Mash there, which allows me to get this Sucker Punch off. And as we see in the last turn of battle, this is actually quite crucial. Comes out with another Psychic and does finish me off. Down goes Ariados, but now is a good time to switch into Typhlosion. Good old Fire Honey Badger thing. But of course he switches out, not wanting to take any fire moves to the face, and switches out into Delphox. But not much of a problem. It's slowed down, and the Fire Blast does not connect. Bit annoying, but hey, I figure I'll switch out here. I'd much like to keep this thing alive for, I think I saw he had a Ferrothorn as well. So in comes Nelly the Elephant, wearing an Assault Vest, and we take that pretty well. But unfortunately the Magician ability steals my item, and let's see how much will this do now that my item is gone. It does a good amount, but I do survive. And Nelly does have a powerful attack stat, so with a Stab Earthquake, very easily finishes off the Delphox. Is it Delphox? What's the middle one called? I think it's Delphox. Braixen is the middle one for some reason. Yeah. And out comes Spike. Spike is probably the only Pokemon that would want to set up hazards, but given my opponent's style of play so far, there's a good chance he might not, so I'm going to leave Donphan in here and just go for the knockoff. Then of course I realise he wasn't actually holding an item. I really should have paid more attention to these things. As out comes the Bullet Seed. Bit of a surprise, but oh well. I don't think he's going to be setting up any hazards. Good opportunity to bring in Typhlosion once again. And I can go for a safe Fire Blast. Especially now the Delphox is dead, nothing will appreciate it. As we see Marshadow come in. I'm not actually that familiar with Marshadow's stats, I haven't got one yet or used it at all. But, miss again. Normally I would have had Wide Lens on Typhlosion, like I did back in 6th gen. But with the 7th gen I decided to go for the Gracium Z with Solar Beam. Unfortunately, this allows my opponent to get up a bulk up, and I figured, hey, I really want to get some damage on, maybe I can even one-shot it. But that is not the case. Does good damage, but oof, he's able to hit me back with a Spectral Thief, boosted from the bulk up. So now I'm going to switch out and bring in Wigglytuff, who can be immune to those ghost moves. And yes, we do get the immunity. So now I figure Dazzling Gleam should be able to take it out. Oof, especially after a close combat which did tons of damage there. It lowered its own special defense and secured my kill. So, good job Wigglytuff. But there ain't a whole lot Wigglytuff can do. As we see Spike come back in, this could actually be pretty advantageous. I'll probably outspeed thanks to the sticky web now, and I will go for the Wish. And if Spike kills me, anything I bring in will be healed. So up goes the Wish. And yes, Spike does finish me off. Super effective Flash Cannon. Finishes Wiggy. A mixed attacking Ferrothorn, not something you see every day. But this allows me to bring in Typhlosion, who I know will outspeed. And here, I think I just go for the safe Flamethrower, that's right. Don't want to risk another Fire Blast miss. And easily finish off Spike. And now, thanks to Wigglytuff's Wish, I'm almost back up to 100%. Now my opponent brings in the Sableye, and I remembered this was holding an item, so could it be the Mega Sableye? And yes it is. But Mega Sableye no longer gets Prankster on its first turn, so I am able to... Sorry. I am able to try and hit it before it sets up, but we get another miss. And he goes for the Confuse Ray. Quite unfortunate, but as Confusion was nerfed this generation to an only 1 in 3 chance of hitting yourself, I do go for a Fire Blast and connect. As he goes straight for that Shadow Ball, but doesn't even do 50%. I'm glad he didn't Calm Mind, as we snap out of Confusion and are able to land another Fire Blast. So all's well that ends well there. Typhlosion coming through. As in comes Gallade. Now I figure I'll keep this alive because he still has Metagross. And I can bring in Sizzle here, who should be able to do some decent damage. As out comes that close combat. Very powerful. Doing over 50%, probably 60%. And yeah, this Scizor is max speed and max attack. I'm not so much into those slow, bulky ones, you know. Hoped Bullet Punch would take it out, but it is able to just survive. But this allows me to bring in my newly found Pokemon. I've never used a Piloswine before in any playthrough, but I used it this time in Silver, and the thing is great. Even though the most powerful Icy attack it could get was Icy Wind, besides Blizzard, which is far too inaccurate, it was really pulling me through in Pokemon Silver. And with Ice Shard in this gen, I knew it would out-prioritize and kill the Gallade there. As in comes Metagross, but since Piloswine can evolve, mine is holding the Eviolite, so I was able to tank that hit pretty well and retaliate with an Earthquake. I did damage Calculus, and Earthquake would have done 97% damage to a Metagross normally, so it was a very good thing that Ariados survived and was able to Sucker Punch earlier. And yes, that was a great victory. I had a great time playing Pokemon Silver. What were your teams that you guys used in your playthroughs? Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment below.